Hi folks, we're here again. Food Tribe Happy Hour. Let's see if we can get set up. See my lovely flowers. We're going classy today. So we're doing florals. So I've got a nice, beautiful arrangement. Can you see me? Can you see me well? Will I be able to see any comments? I won't be able to see any comments, but I can never see the comments. Especially after 2 drinks, the ability to see the comments completely disappears from me. We've got here our beautiful arrangement. Beautiful arrangement. See, I'm making all the flower puns already. We'll get there. Okay. Excited for today's cocktails. There's some really fun ones. If you've been over on my own Instagram channel, you've seen how we experimented over the last few days, doing some really fun bits and pieces with flowers, and that's the theme of today's happy hour, floral, which I know isn't everybody's cup of tea. I know there's a lot of people for whom they don't like the idea of florals. They go, oh, I don't like a floral gin, I don't like a floral this. They talk about it being a kind of flowers, being like drinking perfume. We're not going there. It's going to be really different to that. We're going to look at some really interesting flavours and show how flowers can be really different to what you imagine. This isn't going to be like drinking Chanel No. 5. I absolutely promise you that. So again, we're going to be doing florals today. That's why I've got my beautiful little bouquet of marjoram flowers gathered earlier today. We've got loads of flowers we're going to have a play with, some flower-infused things, some things that you won't realise are flowers that are actually flowers. We're going to play with those as well. And special treat for today's Food Tribe Happy Hour, I'm doing 4 drinks tonight because I had a few drinks I was thinking about doing, and I decided, screw it. We'll do all 4, and we'll see if I'm standing by the end of it. We're going to have some special guests today. Some people come on and talk about what they're drinking, what they're doing in the wonderful world of cocktails, and we'll say hello to them. So we're going to have a fun time. Hey there to Gomi Cress, who's just joined. Hi Ellie, hi Jenny. I've just had a big delivery of wine, so they're ready to go. Woo! We're ready to go. So, just to everyone who's joining, hello, we're going to do flowers this week. That's why I've got this beautiful bouquet of marjoram flowers. I'm going to put them down. But do not fear. I know that loads and loads and loads of people might be afeared that what this is going to be is stuff that's sickly. Just they're thinking of like rose water and orange blossom water. They think that the whole thing's going to taste like Chanel No. 5. It is not. This is going to be a nice, interesting, we're going to explore the different range that flowers have. And this is slightly, folks, again, like the lemons, because my actual day job is working at a botanic garden. So I'm surrounded by flowers all day. So I thought, why not make something really fun? So anybody who was on my own Instagram, at Tom Gilliford, will have seen that last night I was playing around with a few floral ideas. And I wanted to start with the drink I was making on there to keep people on their toes. Hi to everyone who's joining. I see you were having the London Wineaholic. Hello, you're going to join us later after we've made this drink and say hello. Tell everyone about your wonderful Instagram channel. So I'm going to start off with a really nice little drink. I made it last night. It doesn't have a name yet, but it tells you stuff about flowers that you might not know. So we've talked about Everleaf before on Food Tribe Happy Hour. This was gifted to me by Everleaf, as was my beautiful golden jigger. So Everleaf is a non-alcoholic spirit, and I am not going to be in the spirit of this non-alcoholic spirit because I'm going to put it with some beautiful tequila. But Everleaf gets its flavours from flowers. Now let me get this right. Saffron, from irises, from voodoo lily, from vetiver, from vanilla and gentian. So 4 of those are flowers. And those flowers are really driving the flavour of this. But it's not sickly sweet. It's got a bitterness, it's an aperitif. So it goes really well. So we're going to start off with a base of this nice mix of kind of interesting florals. And we're going to go in with 25 millilitres of that. So 25 millilitres of the Everleaf, just straight into our mixer. We're using a jam jar. You don't have to use a jam jar, you can use a shaker, but jam jar's fine. Then we're going to go in with mezcal. Now, mezcal or tequila, whatever you're doing, it's a Reposado, so it's a nice aged one. It's got a bit of oak flavour to it. Goes really well with floral things. So we're going to come back to this. We're going to use this twice today. And the reason for that is that agave that it's made out of a cactus, a roasted cactus or just a fermented cactus. And because it's got that slightly more vegetal, slightly more plant flavoured rather than the grains that we're more used to, or indeed grape-based things like brandy, or sugar-based things like rum, because it comes from a plant, from a cactus, actually that greenness, that freshness that comes from it really suits any drink that you've got some nice bits of floral in. I keep thinking this is a screw top, it's not, it's a cork. There we go. I got this last week. I don't know the brand very well. Vivir Tequila. They're nice, great. They're in Waitrose at the moment. They were on offer, and I'm really enjoying this tequila. So single measure of that, so equal measures of the Everleaf to the tequila. So we are now way off piste with Everleaf, who is supposed to be a non-alcoholic spirits brand, and we've just added tequila to it. So the final thing, I'm going to use something. Now I've got some leftovers from last week. If you watched last week, you'll know we did fruit. And we made a cold extracted strawberry syrup just by mixing strawberries and sugar together and draining off the liquid. So I've got some of that left over. This is a basil and strawberry one. And why am I using strawberry in this? Here's my fun fact for the day before I've had any alcohol. And I think it's fun. The rest of you will probably think it's boring. But you can wow your friends and bore your enemies by going, oh, you know, strawberries aren't actually a fruit. They're not. They're a conglomerate fruit. What that means is the little things on the outside that you think are seeds, they're actually the fruit. The thing that they sit on is actually kind of a deformed, enlarged flower that grows. So, technical definition of a fruit is the enlarged ovaries of a flower. And the rest of the stuff around it has different things. So the seeds on the outside are what the plant's ovaries were. Whereas the red bit, the bit we eat, the juicy bit, that's actually just the flower. It's just expanded and changed shape. So, not technically a fruit, technically a flower, and I'm counting it and getting it in my drink. So we're taking we're taking half a measure here. So just about 12 mils of strawberry syrup. Can be any sort of strawberry syrup. Make sure it's a nice refreshing one though. This has got a bit of basil in it, which really lifts it as well, because waste not, want not. So we've got measure of the tequila, the Reposado tequila, measure of the Everleaf, that really floral, delicious, non-alcoholic aperitif, and then half a measure of strawberry syrup, a fresh strawberry syrup. We're then going to take some ice, get it out of my cool bag. Just a couple of pieces of ice will do here, so not a huge volume. Get my swizzle stick. My golden swizzle stick, from also from Everleaf. I'm just going to give that for 10 seconds. Give it a nice swizzle. Fab. So all we're doing there is just diluting slightly, chilling it down, making it a nice chill drink. And look, this is a really good aperitivo. It's really good before dinner or really good after dinner. I wouldn't have 3 or 4 of these. It's quite intense. And I'm just going to kick it up a notch. And we know we are going for luxury tonight. Because, you know, the thing about flowers is, I always think they are very luxurious. They exist for only a short period of time. So when you have them in a kind of abundance for a moment, and then they fade. And it's therefore not unsurprising that the most expensive spice in the world is a flower, and it is this wonderful stuff, saffron, which is in Everleaf, which is it's going to pull out. So we're not going to want a lot of saffron, because I am not made of money, but I'm just going to take a couple of strands of saffron and just place them into the drink. Just literally, folks, tiny amount. Now, saffron, for those in the know, is actually the stamen, the inside of a crocus. You know, like you see growing at springtime, the purple flower. If you catch them at the right time of year, it's the right species of crocus, you just pull out the stamens, you cure them. And at one time in the world, the UK was the world's largest supplier of saffron. Saffron is also a natural mood booster. It can get you high if you have enough of it. It lifts mood, it makes you happy, as does alcohol, so that's great. So just a couple of fronds of that, they're going to really give a colour to this. And then just straining it through. You can leave the ice in if you'd prefer. I like to strain it out, just using my lid there. It should, if I've got it right, just come up. Yeah, there we go. Right to the top. Like that. And we've just got a couple of fronds, we're just letting them chill, and then take a little sip off the top because I've filled it too much. So, you're worried it's going to taste like perfume. Not at all. So, those very floral flavours actually dial back, particularly with the mezcal. And what you get is the flavour of nice honey, warm honey. It smells like walking through a field of wildflowers in summer. It smells like bee pollen. And just having that little bit of extra saffron at the bottom is just really lifting the colour. I've got a little piece of saffron here. cannot let saffron go to waste. We'll pop that in there. Saffron, as I was saying, really common in the UK. It used to be. We used to be the world's biggest supplier. That's why you've got whole towns in parts of the country called things like Saffron Walden, because all they did was grow saffron. Absolutely incredible. So yeah, really fab little drink. It doesn't taste particularly alcoholic. You've got two kind of sweet things in there. The strawberry just adds a relaxing sweetness to it, and works very well with the rest of the florals. But as I say, this is exactly the sort of drink we're going for. It doesn't have that kind of punch you in the face grandma's perfume. What it's got is that kind of drier, dustier mountain flowers, thyme, hay fields. It makes me just, this drink is just summer. Summer in a glass. And that saffron really just gives it an absolutely fabulous golden blush colour, which is really brilliant. Right, Wineaholic is going to join us for a second while I drink my drink. There we go, view. Here we go. First guest. We might have two. We'll see. Oh, it's a good drink. Hey,
Hi.
Sarah, how you doing?
Good, and you?
I'm good. Well, I've got a drink in my hand, so I'm always good. It's 5:10. Yes. What are you drinking, Sarah?
So I've got the Beefeater Blood Orange with some tonic water and some Prosecco, peppercorns, rosemary, and a slice of orange.
Nice. You told me earlier when we were talking about this that you didn't have anything in the house, and yet you managed to magic up this drink.
Somehow, I mean, my sister mentioned, hang on, let me see. She said we have some poppy's tea.
Poppy
Like
tea.
Some
Ooh.
kind of fancy thing she whipped out from the cupboard. Yeah, and it's basically just loose poppies.
Nice. Well, I mean poppies is an intense one to go for. That's going to make you sleep very, very well. Poppies, of course, being where we get opium from. But poppy seeds in general, they'll give you a nice chill. They chill you out. They're not psychoactive or anything like that, but they'll chill you out very nicely. And poppy tea definitely will make you sleep very well.
Okay, well, it's too early for that then.
Too early for that. Sarah, do you want to tell people? I said someone to tell us all about your new Instagram that you've got, which I've been really enjoying over the last few weeks. You just started it. You're also on Food Tryb, one of the amazing Food Tryb people, but also on Food Tryb like me. And tell everyone about your new channel.
Yeah, sure. So it's just really started after seeing your happy hour regularly. Just thinking, I love drinking and I love talking about what I find out when I come to drink, the bargains, whether it's a cheap find or a little splurge, and I just want to share with everyone the experience. So I'm going on a full-on journey on Instagram. We'll see what comes out of it, but I'm just having fun reviewing mostly wine. It's mostly wine, but a few spirits here and there, and yeah, we'll just see where it goes. I'm thinking of actually going through the wine diploma. Can't remember the name, but
oh wow, yeah, you get the Masters of Wine or the WSET.
That one.
The WSET, yeah, I've always wanted to do that as well. Learn some actual real things.
They're offering online courses. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm just having fun. It seems to be I'm not the only one that enjoy drinking that much, so it's great to know I'm not alone.
No, if anything, what I do is make everyone else feel better about how little they drink.
Yeah.
They say, I have to prepare for these sessions on a Friday, so I have to have at least 2 drinks a night. Because we arrive at the successful drinks for the happy hour. There's plenty of drinks that never make it to happy hour, so we've got to be careful there. And are you enjoying the Beefeater Blood Orange?
So to be completely honest with you, it's nice at the beginning, but now I'm getting to the end of the bottle. It's just too sweet for me now.
Not a fan of sweet gin. I like my infused gins to stay up at that kind of over 40% level and have a bit of bitterness to them, which is the thing.
Yeah.
But the Beefeater range is interesting. There's a great, I'm going to give another plug for where I work, but there's a great Beefeater collaboration with Chelsea Physic Garden called the London Garden Gin, which is awesome. And that's made, so where I work, Chelsea Physic Garden, the Beefeater distillery, the original one, was next door. And what we grow is botanicals and herbs and medicinal plants. So they reckon that the original Beefeater recipe came from our garden, from the people wandering around in it. And so London Garden gin, which I highly recommend, that is all about kind of going back to the roots of the gin when it started, but no blood orange gin.
No, great. No, but well, I'll come and check out the garden soon
Good.
and hopefully have a taste of the London Garden gin.
Yeah, we'll have a gin together. Right, before I crack on with the next drink, what is your view on floral? I'm getting a thing because I love floral. What's your view?
I do love florals. There's actually, so where I'm originally from Paris. There was a shop next to a house called, I think it was called Au Nom de la Rose. So in the name of the rose. And they used to do these sort of sugar-coated rose petals. And I used to snack, so, you know, instead of being a normal kid eating on, you know, snacking on M&Ms, or I would snack on this, but they were so expensive.
Sugar-coated rose petals. Now that is a life. That is a life to lead. And wonderfully leads me on to the next drink. So the next drink is all about rose and pomegranate. So thanks so much for joining, Sarah. Go check her out. Remind us what your handle is.
It's the London Wineaholic.
The London Wineaholic. Remember the London Wineaholic. Go follow Sarah. She's awesome. Have a great day. Drink along with us. And we'll see you later. Right.
Bye.
So, in honor of Sarah's amazing childhood drinking rose petals and eating rose petals, we're going to make a rose-based drink now. Now, look, I know rose really does split opinions. Some people really hate it. And I think the reason people hate it is that predominantly what they're thinking of is rose water, and they're thinking of too much rose water, which really does overpower. Now, personally, I actually really like rose water and cardamom, really big fan of that. But I take the note that not everyone is as into florals as me. So what I'm going to use for this rose-based drink is rose bitters. Now, you can buy rose bitters. These are my homemade ones. Check out foodtryb.com if you want to see isolation inspiration. Go on there. You'll find my guide on how to make your own bitters. These are made really simply. We just take 30 milliliters of vodka, and we take a nice clean vodka, and we take these sorts of things, these dried rose petals. These are from Spice Mountain, but you can get them in a lot of supermarkets as well. Really easy to find. You take these, pack them in, put loads, like a good handful in, and you're going to really infuse it into that vodka. And what you get is something that's a little bit different to rose water. So rose water is a distillation of rose petals and water, and it's quite strong and it's very floral. This is bitter. It has a much more earthy character. It has a much more vegetal character. So what we're getting is a little bit more of the kind of adult, punchy, rose hips elements of the rose petals. But also, we're gonna do something beautiful with these because it's flowers and they're beautiful. But I also think this is super elegant. And then I thought, okay, how can I kick it up a flower notch? So I made myself this. Now, some of you might have seen this on my Instagram last night. It doesn't look as beautiful as it did last night, but this is pomegranate flower vodka. So pomegranates grow. They are a flower. And they're these beautiful red flowers. And the outside of the flower is very much the same as the flesh on the outside of the pomegranate. And the flesh, the seeds, the pith, even the leaves of the pomegranate are all edible, and they're all actually really, really good for you, as is rose. Rose is one of the most ancient curatives. It was one of the most medicinal things that you could have. And you might think, Tom, but you put it in vodka, so it's no longer good for me. But that's not the case, because actually using flowers in cocktails is a really ancient thing, because spirits help preserve the really volatile chemicals, the ones that are actually good for you, that are in plants. So when you mix flowers that are good for you into alcohols, you actually preserve the things that are good for you. If you have 5 cocktails, you also do some damage, I'm not going to lie. But we do get them. The other thing we get is the complex flavor compounds. So by putting these flowers into an alcohol and letting them sit for a day or so, we're going to draw out those amazing flavors. And if I fish out using my long spoon, one of these flowers that I put in here only last night, these were bright red last night, bright red like a pomegranate. And you'll see, I'm going to bring it over. Go on my Instagram, take a look at how bright red they were. Completely white now, bleached. And that's because all of that color has gone in to my actual liquid. It's gone into my vodka. And if I taste that vodka now, refreshing, little bit sweet, a little bit of the kind of the nectar that was in the flower is in there, and pomegranate flowers have a lot. And you might think, Tom, where on earth am I going to get pomegranate flowers? They actually grow quite a lot of places in London, so mark them, you'll see them, and they grow. They're big trees, they're quite hardy trees. There's lots around. Otherwise, if you can't find pomegranate flowers and you think, Tom, I want to make pomegranate and rose martinis, which is what we're about to make, take a pomegranate, eat the seeds, they'll be delicious, and then just finely chop up the outside of the pomegranate, and then just pop it in some vodka. It'll give you a very, very similar flavor. It'll be slightly less sweet, slightly less floral, but it's going to give you a similar flavor because that outside is what the flower is essentially made of. So you're still going to get those delicious compounds. So what it tastes like is a bit grassy, a bit sweet, a bit watermelony, actually. It's got a refreshing character. And what we're going to have today is a beautiful martini with rose. So I'm going to take, first of all, my rose bitters, not rose water, rose bitters. And we're going to take 3 dashes. So we're not going to be scared. 1, 2, 3 of our rose bitters. Then we're going to take a double measure of our pomegranate flower infused vodka, or just pomegranate infused vodka if you prefer. Pop that in. You can see it's now a beautiful golden colour because of all the reds that have gone into both the rose and into the pomegranate have now bled out into it. I'm going to take a few pieces of ice and we are going to stir our beautiful martini and hope that I can walk by the end of this. So simply take it, swizzle, we're going to stir for 10 seconds. Hey to everyone joining, we're doing all about flowers today. I'm just stirring up a pomegranate flower and rose martini. So we're just stirring it to a vodka-based martini. And instead of using vermouth, what I'm using here is rose petal bitters. Rose petal bitters made by infusing rose petals in high concentration into vodka. So giving that a nice stir up there. And we just made a drink with no name using Everleaf and mezcal. Right, so it's nice and chilled. Little tip, you're spinning it fast, and you can see here, folks, if you're using a glass one, it's now clouded up, so we know it's nice and chilled. And that's what we're looking for. We're just looking for it to be chilled. We're going to take our nice martini glass here, and we're going to strain it again. Don't need to use a sieve or anything like that. Just going to pop it on, the old pasta trick. Fabulous. Right, and leave it a second, let it settle down. And I'm going to take these beautiful rose petals. So you can buy these loads of places. They're really not expensive. I think these are about £1. And you can see there, look at that, beautiful rose petals. So there's a few things you can do. You can literally just scatter them on top of the drink. They'll float. One thing I like to do is just dip your finger into the drink. And then we're just going to make some dampness. Just wet the side of the glass a little bit. Obviously, if it's not your drink, don't use your fingers. Use a little brush or a little piece of towel. But if it's your drink, you can do whatever the hell you want because it's your drink. And then what we're going to do, and we're doing fancy things with flowers. So I've got tweezers today. So just tweeze them apart. And then what we're going to do is just stick, failed. Stick to the side of the glass. It's going to work for me. Yeah. So we're going to take it, and immediately the moment you take these out, you'll see you get that beautiful rose smell as well. Are they going to work for me? Probably not. Oh, they're being bad today. Sometimes they want to be a little bit damper. These are brand new. So we're going to do it slightly differently. We're just going to pop them into the glass because don't want to waste your time watching me fail. So just a few little rose petals into your glass. Also works if you can't make them work around the edge. You can also do a rim of the glass if you powder them. And we'll see here, you pass this to someone, have a look at that garnish. Oh, can you see those beautiful rose petals? And they're not doing nothing, they're not there pointlessly. When you bring that up to your mouth, it's going to smell, it's going to have an aroma of roses. So we're going to go. Oh, so not a drink for the faint-hearted. This it's essentially just a double vodka. We've used nice vodka. It's really fresh. It's really infused up with all of that pomegranate. And then what you're getting is this deep rose flavor, bitter, vegetal, floral, not sweet, not sickly, not your grandma's perfume, as I keep saying, an actually really stiff drink. Absolutely fab. Now, some people might find it a little bit austere. They might find it a little bit too just the vodka. If that's the case, absolutely just pop in a little bit of vermouth like you would with a normal martini. This is a super dry martini. If you're liking martinis a little bit sweeter, pop in a bit of vermouth, won't do any harm. Vermouth, also a wonderful, lovely floral thing. Oh, roses and pomegranate martini. Right, I'm popping that down there because necking a double martini is probably a bad idea for me right this moment, because we have more things to get on with. So folks, just a little recap, we are talking all about florals today. So we started off making a beautiful little drink with tequila and Everleaf, the wonderful floral-based non-alcoholic spirit, with a little bit of strawberry. Just mixed that up, made a simple little aperitif drink, nice little simple drink. We've just made a rose and pomegranate flower infused vodka martini. Really strong, I'm feeling it now, but a nice, beautiful drink, sophisticated. One you can sip on, perfect for pre-dinner. One of the things I'd say here, folks, is a little thing. If you want to try any flowers, if they're edible, don't eat non-edible flowers. But just popping them in the vodka like this, like I just happened to be able to come across some pomegranate flowers. A friend gave me some that they were cutting off their tree, and I thought, why not? I'll stick them in vodka. I know that they're edible. I know that they're refreshing and delicious. Bam, let's have a go. Doesn't have to be that. It could be nasturtiums, dandelions. Who knows, make a dandelion infused vodka and see where it goes. The thing about flowers is that they really appreciate being in the alcohol. You'll get out good flavors, good colors, and good aromas from them by just popping them straight into alcohol. So, chin chin. We're doing 4 drinks tonight, not 3, so I'm going to move on to the next one. The next drink is a Collins. So, this is going to be a fun drink. We need my Collins glass. So, probably, I think I'm safe to say that the most commonly used flower in cocktails, the one that everyone's probably super familiar with, and maybe even forgotten that it's a flower, even though it's in the name, is elderflower. Now, I'm a little bit late in the season to go out and collect some wild elderflowers, but of course you can. They're everywhere. They're those beautiful kind of big parasol, white, little blossomed flowers you see all over in early summer, late spring. And they're really delicious. And what they have in them is a little bit of nectar, which makes them sweet. Their pollen is very aromatic. And you can make elderflower champagne, you can make elderflower cordial. The nice thing is you can also buy it really easily. It's available in all shops. And it's actually pretty good quality stuff. It's generally made from actual flowers rather than industrial concentrate. Right, that's that martini gone, just as proof that, oh, it's good. So we're going to start with the elderflower. That's the base for this drink. But there's more than one flower in here. So this is going to just give us a nice sweet base for a Collins drink. So quite a long, fizzy drink. So we're taking the elderflower. Elderflower, of course, being the kind of typical, what you call white flower. So often when you're doing tasting notes for things like wine, people will talk about white flowers. What they mean is things like elderflower and jasmine. And when you smell it, it's clean, it's fresh, it's a little bit sweet. And it's a great thing to mix with vodkas, a great thing to mix with gins, great thing to mix with wine, actually. It goes very well. So that's going to sit in the bottom of our drink, and that's our base. Then, if I can find it, I'm going to take this. So this is something you might have seen on my Instagram earlier today. I went out into the Olympic Park, and I picked some of these wonderful things. So this, which you may see growing around, particularly if you live in southern England in towns, is marjoram. So it's a herb. You can get it in the shops. That's really nice. I think it's somewhere, it's got a minty character, it's got an earthy character. It's a little bit like oregano or oregano, and it has these beautiful purple flowers that last all the way through the summer and really into the early autumn. And I use them a lot. I go pick them out in gardens, and I drop them in salads, drop them in desserts. They're these beautiful purple flowers. And what I did today was I took some vodka again, and I picked off the flowers, and I just popped them in. They've been here for about 3 hours now. And it's not a strong, it's not a very, very intense flavor. It's an interesting flavor. What it is a slight sweetness, a slight earthiness. It is perfume, but it's perfume like thyme or rosemary. So it's got that savoury character. But the nice thing is it also won't fight the elderflower. So it actually has got a similarity. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a nice single measure of that. Now I don't actually want the flowers in here because they're a little bit small and I think they'll... So we're just going to strain it through a little sieve. So now we've got our marjoram flower, not marjoram infused, marjoram flower infused vodka in a 1-to-1 ratio with the elderflower. So just give that a little taste. See where you're at. It's not going to taste particularly good because it's a syrup down there. Oh, good. Good, 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 good. Not ready yet. Done. So we've got our marjoram infused vodka. We've got our elderflower cordial. Now we're going to add a few bits of ice just to chill it down. So we're going to add some soda water to this and we're going to add some other bits and pieces, but just give it a stir before you do that. Just let the alcohol and the syrup and the cordial really get to know each other with the ice. Now, at this point, if you're doing it at home, take another handful of ice, pop it in. You want it to be almost full with ice. I, however, I'm down to 3 cubes of ice and still have at least 1, 2, 3, another drink to go. So we're going to stop with those 3. Then I'm going to take these. Again, I've been to Spice Mountain. Look at these fab dried jasmine flowers. So I'm going to pop them in. Just a few. I'm going to take a large pinch of these dried jasmine flowers. And again, you might think, Christ, Tom, that sounds expensive. They're not. They're like £1.50 for this little packet, and they'll last you for ages. Now, we want to give these jasmine flowers a bit of time to get to know what the rest of the stuff in here. So we don't want to put in our fizzy water straight away. So again, we're stirring, letting them rehydrate because they are dried flowers. If you have fresh jasmine growing in your house, by all means use that. But here it is dried. So we just want to give it a second to rehydrate. And just have a look. Is it starting to open? Is it starting to soften? Give it a smell. We've got that white flower, that jasmine lifting up. Oh, tastes good. Then we got some nice soda water, just simple soda water. This really is a light drink. It's not going to knock you over, which is what I need after that martini. And then we're putting in about 100 milliliters. And you'll see, the thing when you use dried flowers is they are going to float to the top of your drink. Now, if I remembered a straw, I would say pop a straw in, because I wouldn't eat those flowers particularly. They're not going to be particularly nice. A straw means you don't have to. They'll float at the top, and you'll be able to drink from the bottom, but I'm just going to take a sip now. Ah, super refreshing, super light, but fundamentally, what you're getting is that white flower flavor. So, we've had the kind of summery flowers, those kind of hay fields, the rich, the golden, think bees and pollen and sunshine. Then we've had that kind of bitter, earthy, medicinal quality that we've got from the pomegranate and the rose, both of which are ancient remedies, and they are bitter, but they're not refreshing bitter. They're just kind of austere, but with that kind of rich rose depth to them. This is another characteristic of flowers. This is light and spring-like and clean and fresh, and that's what this jasmine, elderflower, and marjoram Collins gives you. And then if you want to add another flowery note, just realised I've got them in front of me, so why not? Take a nice sprig of your fresh marjoram, pop it in. Look at that. And again, just a nice little sprig will give you, as you lift it to your mouth, you're going to get that wonderful smell of the marjoram. And also a mouthful of jasmine because you forgot to go and get the straws again. So there we go. That is your Collins. I I cannot recommend that one enough. Super refreshing. Really interesting, complex flavors. You sip it and you go, ooh, that's not vodka. Ooh, that's not vodka and soda. Ooh, what is that? Is it elderflower? It's got an earthy quality. So adding that marjoram, adding the elderflower, and adding the jasmine all together just gives you this wonderful kind of which flower am I tasting, weaving it in and out, which is absolutely fab. Okay. Woo. 3 drinks. I've got 1 more to go. I'm feeling it, folks. Oh, that is good, though. It's a bit easy to drink, which is a bit terrible. Right. We're going to move on to our final drink in a moment. I'm going to give a quick recap of what we've done so far, what we're doing for anybody who's joined us. Give you a chance to say, hey, this is what I'm drinking. I'm having a lot of fun. I love botanicals. I love the flavor of flowers, and I think they're really undersold. I think lots of times people think that flowers just taste like perfume, and what they're used to is synthetic flower flavors, things like Parma violets, things like really strong women's perfumes. And I think that puts people off, which is a shame, because flowers actually are the powerhouses of the plant world. That's where a lot of the really interesting chemicals are. It's where a lot of the really interesting flavors are. And so that's why I've done what I've done tonight. And we're just exploring how you can use flowers in a really interesting and different way in your cocktails. So we started with a company that produces the flowers for you, which is Everleaf, which is a wonderful little non-alcoholic aperitif. It's great on its own, but it has within it iris, voodoo lily, gentian, saffron, all these really rich and summery flowers. And we mix that with a delicious Reposado tequila and a little bit of strawberry syrup. Mixed it up with a bit of ice. Nice, simple drink, just garnished with a little bit of saffron, the world's most expensive spice. We then said hello to Sarah, who's awesome Instagram channel you should all go follow. Then made a really super simple drink, which is knocked me flat, folks, which was a pomegranate-infused vodka and rose bitters martini. Not a drink for the faint-hearted. It's really intense and quite medicinal, which is a drink that I like. And that was made by infusing pomegranate flowers in vodka overnight, mixing that with rose bitters made from rose petals and vodka. Hello to those joining us. Hey. And we just mix those together with ice as we would a martini. Again, if it's a bit bitter for you, if it's a bit too planty, just put a splash of sweet vermouth in there. It'll really just round it out for you, and that'll be really nice. And then just onto my 3rd drink today, which is a kind of white flower infused Collins. Collins being just a kind of nice fizzy drink. So it starts with a base of a single measure of the fragrant and delicate hand-picked elderflower cordial. Elderflower being one of those drinks that actually we have all the time. People know about elderflower, and that's what it is. It's a flower. People who tell me they don't like floral often do like elderflower. So we put the elderflower in there. We then made a really nice little marjoram flower infused vodka. If you don't have marjoram flowers, don't worry about that. Just use a normal vodka. It'll also be delicious. But if you do have marjoram flowers, these beautiful little purple flowers, a little handful of dried jasmine flowers, stir that all up until the jasmine flowers rehydrated, and then just top it up with a bit of soda water for a really refreshing light flower. Think the smell of peaches in the sunshine. Think holidays when you've got wild jasmine growing. Jasmine for me always smells like Auckland in New Zealand, because all over Auckland in New Zealand they just have banks and banks of nice flowering jasmine. So for me, the moment I smell this drink, I'm just transported back to New Zealand. Okay, right, I can't get lost in remembrances of things past. I've got to move on and make our next drink. Got to keep the audience happy, folks. Hello to everyone who's joined. We're on to our 4th and final drink this evening. And we're going to make a margarita. I'm going to put it in a champagne coupe, just because I like it and it looks fancy. So the thing about margarita is it's a shaken drink. So do I have enough ice? No, bear with me 1 second, folks. we have really got through the ice tonight. So before I start the drink, I'm just going to pop 2 ice cubes into my champagne glass here. I'm just going to pop it to the side. I just want that to be nice and chilled by the time that we make the drink. I'm then going to take a jam jar as my shaker, and I'm going to pop some ice in there. 3 cubes of ice. We really want to shake this up hard. Then I'm going to take a measure of the same tequila we used before. It's a Reposado, so it's an aged tequila. It's smooth. It's a really smooth tequila, this one. Really highly recommend it. I've been enjoying it quite a lot. We're going to put a single measure of the tequila in to start. That's the base of this drink. Straight in there. Now, ordinarily, you'd now go and get yourself some citrus. You'd go and you'd get yourself some lime juice. I'm not going for lime today. What we've gone for instead is hibiscus. So hibiscus is a flower. It's related to the sorrel family, and it's a really beautiful flower. Look at this. So you get these dried. They're really quite widely available. There's lots of hibiscus tea around, and it has these beautiful kind of almost alien-like flowers. And if you give this a taste, oh, it's sharp. It's kind of citrusy in the way that sumac is citrusy. And it makes a similar bite. That's all we really need here. So we're going to put a single measure of the hibiscus flower in there. So all I did was take a handful of hibiscus flowers, dried ones, and then about an hour ago, just poured some boiling water over them, just let them rehydrate, and like a tea. And all I'm doing is putting that water, that hibiscus water, into the drink in an equal measure as a single measure. I am going to come back for the flowers. They're going to be important to us later. So we've got our hibiscus water in equal measures to our tequila in there. And then we've got orange liqueur. In this case, it's Curacao triple sec. I prefer triple sec Curacao to something like that one I can't remember, the brand name one that is in the square brown bottle. But you can use that if you're at Cointreau. If you prefer Cointreau, use Cointreau by all means. And I like this drink as a 3-3-3, so as a single measure of this as well. If you're less keen on orange, then dial it back. But orange and hibiscus go incredibly well together. Incredibly well. So we now just fish out one of the flowers, just a little bit. I just want to mash it up with it. And look at that. It's like something from another planet. So just pop one in. We're just going to really intensify the colour in this drink. Again, go look careful on my white walls. I'm going to shake it. I'm going to shake it for 30 seconds. We're there now. So, I always shake a margarita. You don't want a margarita to be, it's not a Negroni. You want it to be light, and you need that dilution that shaking it brings. It's a lighter drink. I'm just going to sieve this as I pour it into my drink, because we don't want the ice to go in. We've got our fresh ice in here. And look at how incredibly, fabulously, amazingly pink this drink is. Fab. Fab, fab, fab. I'm obsessed with the pinkness of that drink. Then, got our ice floating in there. We're going to fish out a couple of the nice looking bits of hibiscus. And we're just going to pop a couple in to the drink. And then if you can find a particularly nice looking one, that's quite an elegant one, we can just tear it slightly and pop it on the side. So that's one way of doing it, using your pre-soaked one. Just adds, you know, an elegant one, that thing that looks like from the Black Lagoon floating in it, and one on top. The other thing is, if you take the dried hibiscus, which is also a really fun ingredient, you can find usually something that's looking particularly fun or floral. That one's particularly nice, and you can just arrange the dried hibiscus there as well. Just something a little bit elegant on your drink. just to remind people, and there we go. Now the hibiscus has settled to the bottom, which is what I was wanting it to do. So we got it there. And either way, the dried or the soaked one, I tend to use the soaked just because waste not, want not. Don't use one you're not going to use. And then have yourself a drink of that margarita. Super refreshing drink. So it's a less acidic than the citrus, but you still get that balance with the sweet orange syrup, and you get the smoothness. Now, you could use a tequila blanco here, wouldn't judge you. I just really like something with a bit of age, a reposado. Adds a smoothness, adds a vanilla character from the oak. But that colour is just outstanding, and you're just going to get that from the hibiscus, which is a flower. Absolutely delicious, sweet, sour, refreshing, little bit of that kind of oakiness that sits alongside it. Really, really stand out. And also the striking pinkness of it. And there's a lot of people who will be like, oh, pink drinks. I love a pink drink. Nothing wrong with a pink drink. Right, folks, that is your 4 drinks. That is 4 drinks in 45 minutes there, folks. So I'm gonna whip around again, just give you a quick overview. We were talking about florals today, all the things that we can do with flowers in cocktails, which it turns out is loads. We started off with an Everleaf cocktail, which is actually a non-alcoholic aperitif, and I ruined the non-alcoholic quality of it by mixing that with strawberry syrup and a reposado tequila. We stirred that with ice, served it with a garnish of a little bit of saffron to bring out the saffron qualities. A really warming, summery hayfield aroma from the flowers there. The next one was a bit more of a kind of hark back to medicinal qualities when people used to mix flowers and alcohol in order to take out their really positive, particularly antioxidant qualities, which was a pomegranate flower and rose petal martini. Not your grandma's rose perfume by any stretch of the imagination, not Turkish delight. Don't think any of those things. This is a bitter, grown-up drink. If it was it can be a bit bitter. You can tell I'm like, is it too bitter for people? I love bitter. Put a little bit of vermouth in there. But what I did was just straight up 2 measures of pomegranate flower infused vodka, which again, if you can't find pomegranate flowers, which you probably can't, just use the peel of a pomegranate, take it off, chop it up a little bit, pop it into 4 measures of vodka, leave it overnight, that's your thing, take it out. And we pop that with rose petal bitters, which you can buy, or if you want to make them, you can buy these dried rose petals, pop them for about 24 hours, about a teaspoon of those with a single measure of vodka, leave them overnight, that's your rose petal bitters, mix them together, stir it with ice, serve it as a martini, decorate with beautiful rose petals. Third drink we made, still really enjoying, which is a white flower Collins. So we started with a base of a single measure of the elderflower cordial, which you can buy absolutely everywhere. We then mixed that with what I made, which was a marjoram flower infused vodka. And this is kind of a theme here, folks. If you see flowers that are edible, have a go at preserving them, because the flowers are transitory. They'll be there for a few days. But if you want to capture those flavors, vodka, any spirit will be really good at keeping and extending the life of those flavors over quite a long period of time. So we mixed the marjoram infused vodka with the elderflower cordial. We tossed in a few dried jasmine flowers like you get in jasmine tea, and we're just giving them a bit of time with ice, stirring them till they've rehydrated, topped up with soda water. Absolutely fabulous drink, really refreshing. Sit there and sip that all afternoon. And then our final drink was a twist on the margarita. I should have said when I was making it, actually, hibiscus, a really traditional Mexican ingredient, hibiscus growing in Mexico in profusion. It's a sour flavor. So it adds that sour balance that you want. So we replaced the lime in our margarita with the hibiscus water, which you make just by rehydrating hibiscus flowers in a little bit of boiling water an hour beforehand. So it was a single measure of reposado tequila with a single measure of hibiscus water with ice, single measure of Curacao triple sec and orange liqueur, shaken with ice with one of the hibiscus fronds in there, strained and stirred over ice into this beautiful, blushing, pink, delicious margarita, which I'm going to be enjoying now that all my other drinks are gone. So thank you all for joining me. It was really great to have Sarah The London Wineaholic is her handle on Instagram. Please go follow her. I've been enjoying her posts for the last couple of weeks. She's absolutely fab. She got great reviews of wine, great reviews of spirits. She was nice enough to come and join us today, so thank you so much for joining us. I hope you all have absolutely brilliant weekends. Go get yourselves a drink. The pubs are reopening, so you can even go get a drink outside. But if you don't fancy having a drink outside, of course, you can always come here 5 p.m. on a Friday, and we'll be doing happy hour. Who knows what we'll do next week? It's always lovely to see you. And as always, folks, stay safe.